0 to over $200,000 in sales on a brand new Shopify store in under 3 weeks. Let's talk about it. Again. If you're watching this video, chances are you are much closer, if you haven't already, to seeing large amounts of success in the e-commerce space because you are taking the initiative to watch a very specific video, by the way. A title like this whole concept and what we're about to do is specific. It's not, how to get rich with e-commerce, this or that. We're going to talk about some practical things, some strategies, and I'm going to show you inside my actual Shopify app what's going on in this store and kind of take you step by step through that. So first of all, let's reel it back real quick. What is this store? It's new, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about that. So about a week and a half ago, I posted a video on my YouTube channel called Making 11,000 whatever yesterday. Okay, so I broke down one day in sales, talked a little bit about what I was focusing on in that store. I'm more so focused around the product. Okay, so I was explaining different products I look for, pros and cons, and how you guys can find similar products as well. In this video, I want to take a little bit of a different approach because I want this to be a little more of like a one-on-one conversation. I want to walk you through some practical things on what I focus on and what it actually takes to get there because building something like this takes time. It's really, really cool for me, and I'll show you guys this now. Yesterday as an example, I can't show you the bottom because it shows the name of the store, but being able to make over 20,000 in a day and whatever, if we go back, that's today so far. I'm looking at it inverted on here. If we were to look, well, that's still today, never mind. It's all backwards through here. On the month, to be able to do that, it was years. Like I used to see other people's screenshots and I was like, that's insane. And it inspired me so much. And this is a new store. This isn't my main brand. For those of you who know, I have 2 of them. And that's something I've been focusing on those for a year, one of them a year and a half now, just consistently running the same thing. This is something new that I'm still building into a brand. I actually want to show you guys a screenshot in a moment of the supplier invoices for what we're doing with the inventory. However, okay, let's take a quick step back here and drop a like on the video. That would greatly be appreciated. But I want to talk about kind of what led up to this because building something quickly, there's a couple things that people don't want to do that you kind of have to do in order to see that level of success, especially pretty quickly. And the first thing on that side of the conversation, which most people don't want to ever talk about or show, now I try to be very transparent with it, and I've shown it in that last video you guys can go watch, but is the margin. So when you're bringing something brand new, to the point where you can see it building up and starting to scale and, now doing over $20,000 a day, there's one key thing, okay? It's a little 6-letter word that people tend to shy around, and that's margin, okay? Your margin is super important, right? Because that is the lifeline of any business. Imagine if Walmart increased their margin by just 1%. How many more billions of dollars would they put in their pocket in profit? It's kind of a tongue twister. Anyways, how much? It's insane. So when it comes to building an e-commerce business or any business for that matter, especially e-commerce, and you're trying to do it quick, there's expenses you're gonna have, okay? And people don't really factor in the unknown variable. It's kind of like the X factor in all of this, especially with Facebook or Google ads, is building data. For an example, on Facebook, you have to let your pixel build data so that it can kind of self-learn. It's almost like a self-learning machine. It can understand who your customer is, but you have to have gotten it in front of enough people and have them already purchase, which costs money to help that pixel learn. So it does take time to do that. So one thing that almost nobody wants to ever tell you, but I'll be the first to say it, and I will always say it, always have, is you don't need to make money in the beginning. Look, there's no way I would have scaled to 20K a day if I wasn't making money, but regardless, I would not be that upset if I wasn't. Here's why. And again, I've explained the margin on this store. It's like 27 to 35%. I showed the screenshots of that from OrderMetrics.io in the last video that you guys can go watch. So the reason that I wouldn't be upset, and I normally don't make profit for the first few weeks, is because I have to let that pixel self-learn and I have to build data. But you're not going to scale up on something that isn't particularly working. However, as long as it's not losing you money and you're breaking even on that, you're building massive amounts of data. And the thing is, if you have a bunch of campaigns, a bunch of ad sets inside of Facebook that are making you money, but they might not be making you profit, it's totally cool to continue letting them run. Because as soon as the pixel starts to learn faster and faster, and you start to do duplicates, you start to scale, you start to break them down and get more specific on your ads, run retargeting and lookalikes off of that data, you will start making profit. So that's why I know, like for an example, I have some students from the couple people I work with every month consistently, who come to me and they have a store that's at break even. I know for a fact, 10 out of 10 times, if something's breaking even, I can bring it into the profit zone. It might only be a 10% margin, but a lot of people get mad like, oh, you're only making 10%. Well, what if you make $1 million a month? Now you're making 100,000. Go make 10 million. I see people do it all the time. There's massive companies. Think about airlines for an example. Sometimes their margins are razor thin, but you don't necessarily need to make a lot of money profit-wise as long as you can scale it up. So that dollar amount will go up even if that percentage is small. So that's kind of one of the key things on there that you have to understand before. And I understand that's not all that sexy. So now that we're past that, let's get into the sexy stuff. So the first thing that I want to point out on kind of the better side of things is if you already have things going, whether you're breaking even or profiting, don't look outside your current marketing efforts in attempts to try and scale. So I'll give you an example. This happened to me about 2 days ago. Someone DMs me on Instagram like, yo, I'm doing $2,000 to $2,500 a day with my Facebook ads. I'm trying to scale the store. I'm about to hire someone for Google ads and take some courses to learn. And I just sit there and I'm like, I was about to explode. I was like, yo, that's awesome. You're taking initiative, that you want to learn. Perfect. You're going to buy some information and you're already making money with Facebook. Excellent. He was making profit on that like $500 to $800 a day. But I said straight up, and I've said this for years, don't look outside your current marketing efforts to scale. Yes, there is a time to do that, but Facebook, you can go way, way, way beyond 20,000 a day, 50,000 a day. I see people doing $1 million a day that I've seen. I'm sure people do way more. So if you're doing just like $2,000 a day, focus in on that because it's already working. There's already data. Don't go try and make things difficult and start something else like Instagram influencers or TikTok or YouTube or blah, blah, blah. Yes, again, there's a time and place for everything, but scale up what you're currently doing. Like this store specifically, this is purely running on Facebook. Okay, and I know you guys can see that screenshot kind of right there. That's just yesterday on there. Doing over 22,000 in the day, just Facebook, and that's not fully scaled up. Facebook is, at the end of the day, the largest social media platform for a reason. There's a massive amount of customers there, so you don't necessarily need to look outside those marketing efforts. Okay, now, one thing, the most practical inside of here as to how this actually does all the sales and how I can make this work and make a shit ton of money doing it is one amazing word called upsells. Now, I didn't learn about what this was for about a year into doing e-commerce the way that I've been doing it for about 4 years. So an upsell, for those of you who don't know, take this picture, which kind of integrates to the wall pretty well, this canvas right here. If you're buying that and then I want to upsell you on these two small ones, okay, you're buying that for 100 and I say here an extra 20, you can get both of these. That is an upsell, right? When you purchase something on Amazon, a TV, and they say, do you want a 5-year warranty? Or someone to install it, or a stand for it, right? They're offering you all these different services, packages, products, whatever. That is called an upsell, okay? And about 40 to 50%, which is ridiculously high, of the orders on this store are from upsells. What does that mean? First of all, it tells me two things. First of all, we structured the upsell really well. It's a perfect product that is parallel. It's a different product. A lot of people upsell the same product. Depending on what you're doing, that can work. Like supplements, you could buy multiple, okay? So with this, it tells me that I'm able to beat my customers 99.9 out of 100 times. And here's why. In order to make this profitable, I have to be spending less than what the ads are making. But if there's something on the back end making me an extra 50%, like acquiring half of the sales, so really double, if I'm making 10,000 a day in regular sales and 10,000 through upsells, well, I don't even necessarily need to be profitable on the first 10,000. And while you can be, and you will be, that is the goal, it doesn't have to be like that in the beginning. So this allows you to have what's called a competitive edge, right? And this is something you always want to look for. You have some sort of angle to like just karate chop your competitors down and beat them. So for those who don't know, at the end of the day, Facebook is a bidding system. That's how their customer base works. And depending on if you're a preferred advertiser or not and how you're categorized and ranked, you're going going to get customers funneled to you according to that. So if you're making a lot more money on the back end, you know what's called the LTV. It's the lifetime value of your customer. So I know that I can get and spend more money on a customer than my competitor and still at least break even. So I can go in there and do manual bidding, which I haven't even had to do on this store yet. And I can directly just outbid every single person who's trying to acquire a customer, and I will get those sales. Yes, I will spend more, but as long as I'm not losing money, and even companies do this. Companies will lose money on purpose. I'll lose money on purpose to build data faster, right? But this is how, huge companies that know their end term value, like Netflix. Netflix is willing to pay, like I'm sure they're willing to pay $100 to $200 per subscriber, like per user who pays $9 a month, right? Because they know the average stick rate of how long people are going to stick with them. So that gives them what's called a competitive edge, okay? So that's where upsells really come into place for me through e-commerce. That's kind of how I get my competitive edge. It's just one way to do it. But upsells are so huge because there isn't really a direct advertising cost on there. Okay. Now, the final point I want to leave you with, just to close this off, is something interesting, and it's one of those things where people who always ask me what product should I be selling, and it's a good question. There's a lot of products that you can sell, and I understand it gets like a little murky on how you find them and this and that. But at the end of the day, anything, when I say that, I mean it, anything can be scaled up. Because if you can get your hands on a product, I don't care if it's from a surf shack in Bali or if it's from Amazon, anywhere you get that product, there's a reason that it's there. It was created for a reason, okay? Very few products that ever end up in stores or online or anything, don't sell. So there's always a market for it, right? So for example, one of the stupidest products to this day that I didn't think would work, that did work, that I sold, was a turtle necklace. It was a necklace with a little turtle like right here, tiny, like probably a little bit smaller than a penny, just a little turtle. Stupidest thing ever, but I brought it to $3,000 a day. And that was about a year and a half ago. I wasn't like insane with Facebook, but like $3,000 a day was good for me back then. So I had that store along with my few others running, and it was cool. I was like, why are people buying this? I almost didn't understand, but there's still a market for any product you want to do. So just understand that anything is scalable, especially that's why I mentioned in the beginning, when you're building that data, you can then move into lookalike audiences, and that's where you can really start to expand. And once you have data, it just opens more doors, okay? So I understand that finding that product can be hard. That's why we offer custom-built Shopify stores for anyone who needs help, where we do all the product research for you and build you out a custom store from scratch. You guys can find more information about that below, but it's something where just understand, basically everything has a market for it. It could be soccer, where the market is billions. It could be turtles, where the market might just be a few million, maybe 10 million people would be willing to buy it. But that is an insane amount of people. 10 million at $20 a pop or whatever. So there's always potential for something. You guys just have to start testing it and learn the marketing piece, right? At the end of the day, that's what drives sales. A good product set up the right way and good ads. You got to be able to market it properly. So that's where I focus on my skill. And you guys see that all the time. If you follow me on Instagram, which by the way, I post there every single day all the time. So follow me on there. It's just @Bowles, my last name. But you guys see me posting on there all the time, how I just sat down for the last 12 hours and went through my ads. And people ask me all the time, what exactly I'm doing. I'm scaling, I'm analyzing, I'm looking at the data, and I'm testing new creatives, new things, new products even. So that's where the marketing skill comes in. I'm really trying to hone that down and just become really, really good at that, because at the end of the day, that is directly where your customers are acquired, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like down below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are getting scarily close to 200,000 subscribers. That is unreal. Never expected it to kind of pick up this quick. I know we've had some videos starting to do well recently, so I sincerely thank you guys for that. At the end of the day, this channel is just for fun, to share value and be the person who creates the content that was not available when I was starting in the e-commerce business. So that is what I'm here to do. I hope you guys enjoy it. And with that being said, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.